Okay, today we will continue to the programming of CNC. This is the continuation of the last meeting last week. Okay, I will share the screen. Okay, we still in basic programming of CNC turning. The last week we already discussed about the programming of the CNC turning. Then we continue in the depth of G02 code or 02 and 03 is almost same because this is for radius manufacturing or radius turning. The code will use the format of N and then G02 or 03 and then X, Z and F, and then followed by N, number of block, and then M, 99, and then I and K. This is the basic format. For another format, you can use N and then G02 or 03, X, Z, and R. Where the N is a block number, and then G02, this is for radius with the clockwise, and then the X is a diameter on the final diameter, and then the Z is linear movement on the horizontal distance, and then F is a fitting in millimeter per minute, and then the M99, this is the code for I and K parameters, and then for I, this is a distance from the starting point to the center of radius with perpendicular to x-axis. And then for the K is a distance from the starting point to the center of circle or radius, but this is perpendicular to z-axis. And then for the another format, you can use G02 or 03 in X, and then Z and R, and then F. F is same. This is a fitting in millimeter per minute. And then the X and Z are the destination coordinate on the final coordinate. And then R is a radius on the final radius. For example, you see from the figure here, for example, this is the starting point and center point and the end point, and R is the radius from the center point. And then when you using I and K, for example, here you see the value of I, this is the distance of starting point to the center point with the vertical direction or perpendicular with x-axis. And then for K value, this is the distance from the starting point to the center of circle in the direction of horizontal or perpendicular with z-axis. This is the exercise. For example, we want to make a programming of this one. This is the radius with R16, same radius. and then the diameter is 35, and then the large diameter is 100 millimeters, and then the distance from the first radius from the zero is 36, and then the second is 46 millimeters. Okay, for this one, I think all of you already know, and the last week we already discussed about this one. And back to the exercise, this one you can discuss with your friend, and then the result of your job you can upload to Schoology as an assignment. You see from here, maybe you can mapping the depth of cut. For example, I will draw. For example, for this one, this is the center line, and then you can make a mapping. For example, this is the area that you will be machine. You see this one, the distance. That's the distance. 100 minus 35 divided into 2. So this is 32.5. For example, the maximum depth of cut on the maximum is 5 millimeters. For example, 5 mm. So you can divide this one into several depths. So when you divide 32.5 divided by 5, you will get 6. Six times. So it's mean every cutting, the depth is 5 millimeters. Then 5 millimeters will be conducted in 5 times or 6 times. 6 times. So it's mean you get 30 millimeters in the distance, and then the last cutting, your depth of cut is 2.5 millimeters. So it means this one for the last is 2.5 millimeters. For example, this one is 5 millimeters. So the cutting speed or the depth of cut is 5 millimeters, and it's conducted in 6 times, and then the last machining, the depth is 2.5. So for the format, you can use table, for example, N, and then X and Z, and then F. For example, this one, you make a table like this. And then you have to define the start position. For example, this is the start position of tool. The start position. For example, this is 5. And this is 5. So the position, for example, the N, number 1. If the 0 is in the face of your tools or your material in here, this is 0.0, 0.0. So the X, it means the diameter, For example, we put in here, this is the X and Z, the 0 in here. So, for example, the X is it's mean 45 millimeters, and then minus 5. It should be G code. This is G and N. Sorry, number 1, then the G. This is G. G0, the position is 45 and the Z is minus 5. And then before we do the machining, we have to move the tool to the position. For example, the first in here with the 5 millimeters. So from the biggest diameter, it's mean 100 minus 5 multiplied by 2, so it's mean the diameter will be reduced 10 millimeters. So number 2, still 0, G0. The diameter position is in 90, and the Z still minus 5. Without fitting because we are still in G0. G0 is a rapid movement. And then for the next number 3, the first machining, by using linear motion, we using G01. So it means this is the 01 or G1. And then the diameter still 90. And then the Z is the distance for the first machining is 36 positive. And the fitting we use, for example, 20 millimeter per minute. And then continue to number 4. Number 4 with the same machining until you do the linear machining in 6 times, and then the last is a finishing. Then you do the okay. For the next machining, you can discuss with your friend, and then next week we will discuss after you upload your assignment for this one. So it's mean for this problem. For this problem, actually you have 2 type of machining. At first, the roughing process. Roughing process is only G01 or linear machining, and then the next process is a finishing. Finishing is follow the line, follow the line. For example, from this point, from this point to this point, and then 0, 2, and then 0, 3 until this one. So from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 points, you can use finishing. So when finishing, you can use G01, G02, and G03. Okay, you can continue with your friends to discuss this problem. And then this one already we discussed the last week. Okay, we repeat this one. This is only the finishing process, so only the G02, okay, from the figure we can see here. The X is a diameter. This is the 20 actually. 20 is this one. 20, and the Z is -9. This distance. And then for the M99, the I is 15. I is a distance with the vertical line from the starting point to center point. And then the K is a distance from starting point to center point, but for horizontal direction. So this distance is 0 because the position of K is coincide with the center point. You just see the absolute because we have 2 types of programming. There are absolutes and incremental. And also for this one already we discussed on the last week. Actually, this is two process. By using 02, for example, this one, X is 18, and then Z is 1000, and then with I is 24 because this is 2 millimeters. I will explain So we see the distance, this one. Okay, this is 2 millimeters, 2 millimeters. So the eye become 24 millimeters. This is the eye. And then K will be this one. This is K. K 20 divided by 2. So become 10 here. And then for the next is G02 as well. G02, then X become, the last point is on D, so this is 22, and the Z is minus 20 with the same fitting. And then for the M99, the I, this is I1 for the I2 from here. This is I2 for the second. So this is 26. And then the K, also this one is 10. Because the starting point is from E to D. E to D is 10 millimeters. So this is the second machining for radius. So it's mean when this is the first from S to E, and then E to D. This is the second. First radius and second radius. Okay, any question for this one? No question. Okay, we continue to the next slide. Okay, for this one, this is the complete programming by using Active4. The Active4 is a cycle. Active4 is cycle for linear machining. The movement is like this. Okay, I will explain the movement of Active4, GXT4, GXT4. I will draw this. This is the tool position. For example, from 22 to 20, this one. This one is from 22 to 20, the diameter. So it's mean this distance is 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter. And then the movement of tools, from here to here to this one. And then back to the one position. 1, 2, 3, and back to the number 1. From number 1 to number 2, and then to number 3. This is the use of G84. After 84, you move the position of tool by using 0, 0 here to the diameter 20. Okay, 20. So the position in here, full in here, and then the next 84 to the diameter 16. To the diameter 16. So when we do the machining, we see the final diameter is 16, and then 12, and then 10, and then 8, and then 6, and the last is 4 millimeter, because this one is 4. Okay. The process is same here, but you see the Z position, from 13, this one, 13 is here. So the first machining is here, this one, until the 13 distance. And then the next is -9. -9 is in here, this one. And then 8 in here. And then 7 here. 6 here. 4, the last one. This one. The last one is 4, because this is the 4. Okay, this is the last machining of 84 code, and then the tool will be in here, and continue to the next machining by using this one, 0, 1, 0, 1 to the 0 here, and then 0, 2. 0, 2 with the final diameter is 20 with this diameter, with the distance -98, this one. And then the use of M99, you see the X is a diameter here, the diameter. The diameter, or not diameter, but this is for I. For the I. This is the I. I as a distance to the center, starting point to center in vertical. So this is starting point to the center. This is the center. So we put 10. This one. This is 10. And then the K is 0 because the starting point and the center point to the horizontal distance is coincide with center point. Okay, finish to this point and then continue to 0, 1 with the diameter of 20 this distance, then 0, 1 this distance to the last diameter, this one, and then back to the position here. $100 is in here. Position. The position is 10. Okay, this is the explanation of the programming for this problem. Okay, any question? Okay, for the next, this is the code for G03. I think it's not different with the G02, with the format of N, G, 02 or 03, and then X, Z, and F. And then for the M99, followed by I and K. And this is for the example, for the exercise. For this one, the K, you should calculate the value of K by this one. Because the center point in here. If this is the starting point, so you have to know the distance from this one. Also from the center here to this one. This is the I, and this one is okay. If the radius, the radius is 15, but you see this is the center, and then the distance here is 10. And then the I is a distance for the vertical distance from starting point to center. If we see here, this is the 10, this is the distance with the center point. So the I is 10. And then the K here, you can calculate the vertical distance. Okay. And then we found 11.18. After you know the value of I and K, then you can write the G03 in here. X is the final diameter in here, in this position. This is 18. And then the Z is the system with 5.81. Okay. And then with the M99, just fill the I and K here. Just see the absolute vector. Okay, that is the explanation about the use of G02 and G03